Did you get many leases in his times?
Actually, we have got no leases in his time, which should in itself be an indication of the veracity or the lack of veracity of the stories being circulated.
But you've heard this charge made in whispers.
Yes, we heard this charge. I believe Tata Steel has even been called and asked those questions by the enforcement agencies and have given them their response, which is the same as I've told you.
But this is the first public response. Ratan, back to Delhi.
Yeah.
In fact, you're mostly in Delhi.
Yeah.
At which point did you realize that you needed someone in Delhi to work for you, and then you hired Neera Radia? How did that happen?
There was a time, I forget how many years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, that we found ourselves somewhat like just now, under attack of all kinds of statements being made. In fact, I'd go home at night wondering, where did these stories come from? You know, we haven't done this, we haven't done that. It would go on and on in this way. And one example that I think you're aware of is the story about our having hobnobbed with the extremists in Assam.
Well, that story, if I may say so, was broken in the Express, in '96, I think, if I remember correctly.
No, the story was not broken. It was a prosecution by the Assamese government at that time.
Yes, Praful Mahanta's government.
Yeah, and I kept wondering, where is this coming from? So those kinds of issues led us to say that we need to protect ourselves and get our point of view across to the media. Every time we had tried to do something, it was a defensive move of rebutting or denying, and usually we got relegated to a back page in the newspapers. So we decided we'd go out and seek a firm to represent us, and that's how we in fact came together with Neera Radia, who formed this company.
But if you look at these tapes, such as they are, I think what's caught public imagination is this idea that somebody, you can call her lobbyist, you can call her a PR person, you can call her a representative, is talking to people to influence a cabinet appointment.
I've listened to some of the tapes, and I'm not a Delhi resident.
Good for you.
But I was going to say that to a great extent, I wonder whether if other people's phones were tapped, whether we'd get similar kinds of conversation. I don't know that she has the power to influence cabinet appointments or anything of this nature.
Well, I mean, certainly if anybody thought this could be done through journalists, I find it very touching. I believe that journalists can call somebody and say, make so-and-so minister, don't make so-and-so minister, I've been in that business for much longer than most people now. I don't think I could. As you said, I would have a hard time getting out of a speeding ticket.
But, I really believe that Delhi is full of people whose life revolves around politics and what has happened today and what is going to happen and who does what in political circles, and so I really don't know.
Dark corridors at 11 p.m.
Correct. Now I think corridors are replaced by telephone lines.
Did this come as a shock to you?
Did what come as a shock?
These revelations, these tapes now, and
the tapes
and the emergence of the Tata name somewhere there.
Some of it came as a shock to me, but the tapes have been around for a long, long time in one form or another, or parts of it. And
you knew that they were there?
I knew that there were some tapes there. The fact that some included a conversation with me, I also knew was there. And once I realized that her phone had been tapped, I realized that we've had many conversations, as have many other people. And what bothers me is that we're living in a state in this country where that kind of thing happens on an official basis.
And then it gets leaked.
And
then it gets leaked.
And then that's a new phenomenon.
I mean, we are a funny country. We don't declassify something that happened 60 years back.
Yeah.
Nehru's letters to Kennedy, we have to get from Kennedy family's archives. Right?
I see. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just got them 2 weeks back.
Yeah.
Because Kennedy family's archives had them.
Okay.
We still have them classified in India.
Yeah.
And yet, we leak phone conversations that were recorded a few months back.
Yeah. But you see, I think the porosity in Delhi is also something of great concern. Telephone tapes get leaked. Official documents get leaked. Files disappear. I think there's a great deal that the government has to look internally to.
All that happens in corporate situations. Can you imagine what happens when the Pakistanis or Chinese or the CIA and the rest get involved?
Yeah.
Have you raised it with the Prime Minister or the Finance Minister yet?
Not to this extent.
But do you intend to?
Yes.
How would you do it?
What I think I would, at the present moment, like to do is just register my concern as an Indian that this is happening. I don't have enough knowledge to profess to the government what they should do. But I think as an Indian and as a caring Indian who's proud of my country, I feel I should register my...
Formally, will you write to them? Will you go see them?
I've been toying whether I write or try to speak. I think probably the better thing to do is to put on paper my concern and register my concern with them. I am not seeking anything myself from this. I'm not asking for anything to be done for me. I'm asking the government to consider that there's an Indian who has a concern for his country, that feels that this kind of thing shouldn't happen, and that our country is such that we should honor the responsibility that our agencies have, take the necessary prosecuting action that needs to be taken. But this free-for-all and this sort of media blitz with the seemingly evident agenda and what looks more and more like a smokescreen, one should put an end to that and get down to taking the culprits to justice and getting over with it.
Yeah, and also, just flooding the environment with things that are very seditious and maybe interesting to others, but of no real consequence. If I can be naughty, that little conversation between you and Neera, where you are showing wariness about getting into a black tie dress, and and she's wearing a black gown.
Yeah.
But it's funny, but it's funny like a sequence in a movie.
But is that
what is the relevance?
Was that subverting policy? Was that in fact influencing the induction or removal of ministers? Was that toppling governments? How is that of any relevance, and how do you correlate that to putting my picture on the cover and saying 2G scam?